Welcome, Cap fam and friends of women's basketball here at Capital University. I'm Ryan Gasser, and we're sitting here with the head coach of the women's basketball team, Dixie Ciphers. We're trying to get to know the team in our season preview to learn what we're going to be watching out on the court this year, and as well as prepping for this weekend's season opener against Heidelberg University. So first, Coach, talk about the excitement and the anticipation in beginning the season in general without even taking COVID into the equation.
Well, we were pretty excited to come back after Christmas, and everything was going great. We were in our bubble, and we were ready to go off last weekend, and then we got the rug pulled out from underneath us because due to COVID protocol. So it's a little different because you're off 14 days, and now we're back in to prepare for 4 days. And it's like, I don't want to tell you it's like starting over, but we're very winded and just trying to cardio up here a little bit to figure out how to get back to play. Am I excited? You better believe I'm excited. Are the kids excited? Yes, they're excited. But we're also cautious because one test could put us all back down again, either from us or from our opponent. So we're just staying focused on what we need to do to get better, and hopefully we do go off this weekend.
Now, you mentioned just how the coronavirus has impacted play already for you and your squad this year. Now let's put COVID back into the equation. It really has delayed your start of the season. It's taken 2 games away from you with the series against Muskingum being postponed. So now having to wait an extra week, how much more excited, how much more pumped up are the ladies to get out there on the court and show what they have to offer?
Well, I said we're probably not going to be real pretty. We'll get pretty if we can stay up. But I said, you know, the adrenaline's going to kick in. It's going to take over. My biggest fear is that they're too hyped, but that will settle down very quickly just because of the legs going up and down the court and just because of being a 40-minute game. So we're going to really look to play a lot of kids and have different combinations and basically allow the kids to come out here and compete to their fullest potential and try to have some fun. And it's going to be fun because we're up and running again.
Now, you talk about the players on the court that are going to be doing all the dirty work, and I know that they're pumped up, so let's start talking about them. Your teams over the course of your career have really been defined by strong guard play and even stronger defense. Let's talk about the guard play first. You've got a whole lot of them on this year's roster, so who stands out as favorites to get playing time early this year?
Well, you know, because of COVID, you never know who you're going to have and so forth. You play with a lot of different combinations. For as much as COVID has taught us one thing, is start playing with different combinations. So we have a small ball combination that we really, really like. And then we have the Twin Towers that we like too, that we can play against different opponents and so forth. But I'm probably going to go small ball coming out of the gates to let people get tested on the floor and so forth. But to be really honest with you, everybody's going to get an opportunity as long as they continue to put the effort forward in practice. We're not just going to roll the ball out. Our practice changed completely last night when I said, if you do not give the effort in practice, you're not going to play in a game. So it got real competitive real quick, and that's a good sign. But you want kids to understand that nothing's free, that you got to earn everything in life, and that you got to work hard to be in this program.
Now, last year, Maddie Reese was someone that came out of the chute and really impacted the roster and impacted play significantly. Talk a little bit about her, if the intention is to bring her back and run the point, or if she has another role on this year's squad.
Maddie will still run the point. She's a natural point guard. She'll come off the bench for us to run that point. So like I said, we have a lot of different combinations, and we have some kids that do a really good job in certain positions, and we can interchange positions. Right now, I'm just focused on trying to play the defense that we want to play, to be able to stay up, and the kids to take care of the basketball and just play hard.
Now, 2 more guards that are a little bit unique Aaron and Emma Burns. It almost seems like you make this a strategy on your teams over the course of time to recruit sisters, and maybe that'll play well into making those combinations work as you test out different combos. But talk about how Emma has been developing now entering her junior year, and how Erin coming into the program either compare or contrast with her sister style that we've come to know.
Well, when you look at both of them, you can't tell which one's which when you first, and then they start talking, you still can't unless you're looking at them. And so they do bring different things to the game. I'll talk about Erin first as a freshman. I just got to get her relaxed. She reminds me a lot of Emma as a freshman, and she can shoot the three. So they have that both in common. The biggest difference is that Erin is a stronger type guard, and Erin can do things off the bounce a little bit more. But I will tell you that Emma's game has gotten better in that relationship, and that she now can put the ball on the floor, pull up and shoot it. And Emma's Emma. She's, she takes care of herself, and she's got herself in pretty good shape. And she's one of our sharpshooters. But then we got Linda right behind her that's shooting the ball well. And a kid that's really surprising us, not from a point guard situation, but the ability to start to shoot the long balls, Demi Brewer. And it's consistent. You can tell the kid had worked at the game since last March, and it sounds funny to say, but that's how long we've been off. And you can tell different kids have worked and grown, and our sophomores won't look like freshmen any longer. And it's going to be fun just to get up to see what these kids can do. But you put Demi in the open court, she's a handful.
Sounds like you've got a lot of long ball shooters on the squad this year that you'll be relying on to jumpstart that offense.
We're gonna find out here come Friday, hopefully.
Well, another strength of yours has always been the post game. And although that women's basketball has more tailored toward guards over the years, it seems like the post players are starting to come back. And you got not one, but two of them that we like to call the Twin Towers sometimes. And that's Gabby Ledbetter and Kaylee Ciphers. When they came into the program last year, they were freshmen. They were figuring it out. So what strides have they taken over the elongated offseason and going into their sophomore seasons?
Huge. They worked at their game and tried to craft it. I think Kaylee's always been a long ball type shooter, an outside shooter. So she had to really work hard on her inside moves and understanding the contact of the game and so forth and how to finish. She's doing that, and I'm happy for her. Gabby's going to be Gabby. Gabby, what people don't understand, can shoot extended. And that's where she likes to go, even though she's 6'3" and she's got this body, you think it could just go beast out. That's really not where she wants to be. But I like Maddie Good, a freshman that we got out of Cincinnati. And she's going to come along. Kid works really hard. It's tough for freshmen to be consistent. And then Brooke Omert. Brooke Omert looks like a junior, is playing like a junior. Her leadership with these young post kids has been very, very appreciated by me.
We look forward to seeing them develop, not just from year to year, but also throughout the course of the season. So let's talk about the freshmen. You've already mentioned a couple, but you have 6 of them, 5 guards, 1 post. What can you talk to their strengths as an individual as well as a class?
Well, we haven't had a lot of time together. And as crazy as this sounds, COVID has prevented us from being able to have that relationship building, that continued building that you do through conditioning, through the weight room, through contact and practice and so forth. Zoom's what it gets to be, and Zoom for freshmen tend to be pretty quiet. So we're still learning about our freshmen. I remarked to one of my freshmen yesterday, my goal is to bring you out of your shell and that you never stop talking and everybody wants to know where you came from. And so we joke around with them. They're still wide-eyed. They're still trying to learn what it takes to play here. And they're going to find out because they're going to have to help us this weekend.
Now, talking about weekend sets, this is different. Last year, we were playing on Wednesdays and Saturdays. This year, we'll be playing on Fridays and Saturdays, back to back. And while that's good to do maybe once or twice in a year, that's the entirety of the schedule. So talk about the challenges of playing back-to-back nights and how you plan on looking into those challenges.
Well, right now, you don't want to overthink anything. And strategizing with COVID right now, you might as well go ahead, take your head and knock it off the wall. Because, we felt so good about where we were headed and what we were doing. and then you get the rug pulled out from underneath you and everything's paused for safety reasons, and rightly so. And then you come back, and the first night we came back, I had a practice plan. In 20 minutes, I took that practice plan, folded it up, and put it in my pocket because it wasn't going to work. So we're making adjustments on the fly, and trying to, I'm talking to the kids a lot about how do you feel, what do you want to do here? I mean, we've even taken ourselves out of the weight room just to try to take another area away that we may be contaminated in. Even though we're spraying it down and everything, you could miss a spot. So we're going to body weights. We're changing a lot of things up just to try to stay up and try to go through this to give the kids the experience that I want them to have and what they want to have. So strategy, just come out and play your basketball. And I often joke it's like an AAU event, but it kind of is.
Talking with the head coach, Dixie Ciphers, as we enter the 2021 season, a very unique season it is. And so, Coach, having said all of that, as far as not trying to overthink it, trying to just come out and play, but also acknowledging the challenges that you have, is it safe to say that conditioning has been a big emphasis this year while apart, or are there other areas in which you've tried to help the team acknowledge some weaknesses and improve in their game?
I'm a fundamental coach. And our first 5 weeks would pretty much entail putting some things in whole, but you're breaking things down all the time. I've kind of went away from breaking things down all the time and installing whole because you don't know how long you're going to stay up. So that's been really different for me. And yet still trying to put some fundamentals in there so the kids understand some bits and pieces of what you're trying to do. And I thought last night was a more complete practice for us that we've had, obviously for a while. But you sit here and you make phone calls and you're asking other people that are going through this, and everybody's coming up with the same answers. Just get up, and that's frustrating. And because you want to put a good product out there, but at the same time, you think about safety, and I think about the kids being tired and back to back. There's a lot of things that go through your mind, and you really have to just say, let's just go play and do the best you can do. And I said, guys, you're going to play hard. Give me everything you have. You're going to make mistakes, but it doesn't matter. First available shot, let's fire, because it's not going to be as smooth as everybody wants, but it's going to be fun being back up and giving these kids the opportunity. And the longer we can stay up, I said, we may not be pretty this weekend, but we'll get pretty if we can stay up. So that's what's important. It's just, I keep reiterating that. And the strategy may come. Obviously, we're going to make strategy moves within the game. Obviously, we're going to manage to the game. And, I got two veterans, and Alison, Roach, and Taphorn, who've done a really good job of trying to lead these kids through here and keeping this team together. This might be the most together that our team has been in a very, very long time. They're finding they have to rely on one another. They're finding they have to communicate, and they have to stay together to be able to pull this off.
You mentioned two very important pieces, and those are your seniors, Alison Roach and Caroline Taphorn. So, Caroline has obviously been a very impactful player on both the offensive and defensive side, and Alison, a key reserve that you've had stashed away and is probably going to get a much larger role, especially this year. Just talk to us about both of them, what they've meant to the program, and especially in a very different year, what their role is going to be in leading this team forward.
Caroline Taphorn, without a doubt, is one of the best athletes and very, very good basketball player in this conference. Caroline tends to get in her own way with her emotions. I see her keeping her emotions more in check. And that's what you want to see from a senior. You want them to have their emotions in check to be able to set the examples and so forth. I think she's looked really, really good. She's done a good job of raising her voice when she needs to raise it and staying calm when she needs to stay calm. And a lot of times we say tap's tap. She can do a lot of good things, and she is a very effective leader as long as she stays in that lane to do all those things. And Alison, you put the two of them together, they're good friends. They live right beside one another, and Alison has very good leaderships too. She's a long ball shooter. If my biggest hope is she hits the first one out, if she does, it could be a really good night for us. And she just needs confidence. She needs to be able to play, gain the confidence. And I keep saying, let it flow, let it fire, just fire it. We've got nice guard combinations, and it's just about staying together. It's just about having that team chemistry and that support. The team that comes out with the most energy and the team that's excited about being there is the one that's probably going to win both nights.
Again, this year is really, really different. This is about the time where I would be asking you, what are you seeing around the conference? But I have this funny feeling that the focus isn't necessarily always or primarily going to be on the opponent so much as it is in-house. Am I right in that statement, or is there something that we should be watching out on the horizon of the OAC?
Well, I did watch basketball. I mean, I watched two teams play. Obviously, I watched the Heidelberg play and all day yesterday to be able to pick up what they're doing because they're under a new coach and so forth, to pick up their tendencies and so forth. And I am going to prepare the kids like a normal scout and so forth. So that is normal. And we're prepping and everything, but it's just about, knowing where we're supposed to go. Do we know the out of bounds plays? Because I put some in right before we went down. So we had to go revisit those again and everything. And so the focus is on us, about taking care of us, about us staying safe, about us continuing to stay in that bubble and building our program on us. And when we go to play, it's still a ball game. And the kids have seen a lot of different things, and we'll make the adjustments as we need to make them, and we'll see what happens.
All right, Coach, last question, and it's a very ambiguous and open-ended one. What else are we missing about this team? What have we not talked about? Who have we not talked about? What do we need to know about this team before we head into play this weekend and as we go along the rest of the season?
As crazy as this sounds, I've really, really enjoyed these kids. I enjoyed them over Christmas break. That was the first time we've actually been able to spend time together. And I enjoyed our conversations as groups. I've enjoyed our Zooms. I've enjoyed that. They've been a really nice outlet for me. So I'm still glad that I'm coaching and so forth, coupled with my other things that I'm doing here in the department. But they're great kids. And I think every coach says that, but they've been fun to be with. They've been very, very resilient. And ever since Christmas, I think we've been on the same page. And that's the biggest thing.
All right, Coach, thanks for the insight. And of course, be sure to watch the Crusaders all season long on athletics.capital.edu. Not only will you get some fantastic play on your screen, but as we have shown quite a few times over the course of the last year, watch out for assistant coach Bubba Wright and his dance moves on the sideline, because you never know what you're going to see out there either.
Fingers crossed. Let's go Friday.
All right. Cap fam, thanks for joining us here on this women's basketball season preview. Be sure to follow us on social media at Cap Crusaders on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and join us online at athletics.capital.edu for all the live streams and live statistics. Thank you very much, Coach, for joining us today. This has been head coach Dixie Ciphers on the women's basketball preview.